Hi everyone, and welcome to Lazy Lion. Well, we hope you're ready to get hit by that nostalgia, because this next entry just screams the 90s, with its unique blend of early CGI and 2D animation, along with its iconic 90s beats.
1080!
Wait, wrong clip.
Body break.
Body break.
Ooh, but still no.
Initial D!
Ah, there we go. That's right, our next entry is going to be all about Initial D First Stage, a classic anime series that's sure to have you glued to your screen as you watch multiple drivers take to the streets in an electrifying show of drift racing prowess. Whew, just thinking about it has my heart going off like a rotary engine. Because, this is all about drifting. And I believe someone cool once said, "I drift not because it is a quicker way around a corner, but because it is the most exciting way." And that, people, is what Initial D, at its core, is all about. Excitement. Now in this video, we'll be covering the plot and creative process of Initial D First Stage, as well as the origin of drifting. So if that's something that would interest you, stick around. And like always, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get this race started. On your mark, get set, go! The story follows 18-year-old high schooler and gas station attendant Takumi Fujiwara. Ever since he and his best friend Itsuki got their driver's licenses, Itsuki has been obsessed with nothing else but saving up to buy a new car so that he can join the local street racing team known as the Speed Stars. Takumi, on the other hand, couldn't be any less interested. After being forced to make deliveries for his dad's tofu shop every morning for the last 5 years, that's right, since middle school, Takumi sees driving as nothing but a chore, and is continuously confused as to how people can think that driving is fun. He's even less interested when a neighboring racing team known as the Red Suns comes to challenge the Speed Stars to a race. When it becomes obvious during a practice round that the Speed Stars are way out of their league, and that they'll most likely face defeat, they still decide that someone has to put up a fight. And that someone is the leader of the Speed Stars, Iketani, who just so happens to also work at the same gas station as Takumi. Unfortunately, while trying to increase his speed time, Iketani ends up totaling his car. Well, them's the breaks, I guess. Or is it? No longer being able to compete, but not wanting to give up, Iketani desperately searches for someone to take up the mantle in his stead. The pride of Akina Pass depends on it. That's when Iketani hears this crazy rumor from his manager about a legendary driver who owns a tofu shop. And what's more, it's said that this driver has already beaten one of the top racers from the Red Suns team in an impromptu race. Hearing this, Iketani rushes out to track them down, soon finding himself on Bunta Fujiwara's doorstep. Bunta, though indeed a skilled racer, knows that the one who actually beat the Red Suns driver wasn't him, but was in fact his son, Takumi. Coming face to face with Iketani's determination day after day though, Bunta finally relents and promises him that on the night of the race, his AE86 Trino will be there. Now, knowing that Takumi has zero interest in racing and can be pretty stubborn when he's told to do something, Bunta bides his time. And soon enough, an opportunity presents itself when Takumi asks to borrow the car that Saturday to go to the beach. Bunta agrees that he can borrow it, but only if Takumi goes to the race and wins. If he can do that, he'll even throw in a full tank of gas. A rare offer from the always stingy Bunta, and one that Takumi is quick to agree to. Known as the quiet, spacey kid who didn't even know what kind of car he drove, people are understandably shocked when Takumi's the one who pulls up to the line with the Panda Trino instead of Bunta. But that's okay, because Takumi's willing to let his driving do the talking for him, And if there's one thing he's confident about, it's that no one knows these roads better than him. So buckle up, because you're about to see just how the White Ghost of Akina got his name. The Initial D anime is based on the popular Initial D manga series by Shuichi Shigeno, which takes place on the winding mountain passes of the Kanto region of Japan, specifically the Gunma prefecture, and centers mainly on illegal street racing known as touring. The first manga volume came out in 1995 and became so popular that a mere 3 years later an anime adaptation was released as Initial D First Stage. And from there, the series continued to expand, to include multiple seasons, movies, video games, Hot Wheels, and even a live-action film featuring big names like Jay Chu, who plays the lead role of Takumi. Which, I can't believe I'm about to say this about an anime to live-action adaptation, but it was actually not that bad. And dare I say it, even entertaining despite the major changes to the original story. Did I just say that? Oh boy. Moving on, here's something we can all agree on. The choice to use Europop beats as the background track, especially during key racing moments, was chef's kiss, a stroke of genius by the anime production team. First of all, if you want to know why Europop is so infectious, we'd highly recommend watching This Is Pop on Netflix, and specifically the episode titled Stockholm Syndrome, which breaks down the why and how of why Europop music is so catchy and how it knows just how to pump people up. So now imagine watching these intense racing scenes accompanied by these veritable chart-topping slaggers. I mean, come on! You can't not be entertained. It's pretty much inherently designed for that to be impossible. And if the music somehow doesn't do it for you, then what about this animation? Huh? I know this blend of super simple, old-school, video game-esque CGI and 2D animation looks like something that on the surface shouldn't work. But trust us when we tell you that it's all part of the package that makes Initial D so nostalgically wonderful. By using 2D animation for most of the scenes and keeping the CGI solely for the racing scenes, just hypes everything up to another level. Almost like you're getting a reward or unlocking a cutscene, which made it so much more fun. And having said that, we can't not talk about the enviable roster of street racing cars. We have the Toyota Corolla 11 SR, the Nissan Silvia K's S13, the Nissan Solati, the Nissan Silvia Q's S14, the Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2, the Honda Civic EG6, the Mitsubishi... Wait a second. What's the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo doing here? Nice car, but so not this season. Ow! That's better. The Mazda RX-7 Type R, the Mazda Savannah RX-7 Infini 3, and now, finally, the real star of the show, the Toyota Sprinter Trino GT Apex, aka the AE86, aka the Panda Trino, aka the 86, aka the Hachiroku. Now, why did the author Shuichi Shigeno choose the AE86 as the protagonist's car in particular? Well, not only is the Toyota AE86 the car that Shigeno bought with the first royalty check he received from Bari Bari Densetsu, another manga he produced, but it was, more importantly, the same car that belonged to Keiichi Tsuchiya, the Drift King himself, who just so happens to be who Takumi is based on. But we'll come back to him shortly. All you need to know right now is that this little black and white Trino might just be the most iconic drift car in existence. Well, the first thing to note is that drifting, the driving technique of sliding one's car through a turn, actually originated in Japan and was created by a man named Kunimitsu Takahashi, earning him the nickname the Father of Drift. Now, Takahashi surprisingly first started his career as a motorcyclist, and from 1958 to 1962, he took home not one, but 4 world titles and even won a World Grand Prix. Not too bad. But unfortunately for Takahashi, he had to leave the world of motorcycling after sustaining injuries from a crash in 1962. Not being able to let go of that racing bug though, Takahashi switched over to racing in cars instead. While doing this, he noticed that he could compensate for the lack of grip on his tires by attacking corners at speed and coaxing the car to slip sideways, allowing him to accelerate and achieve higher exit speeds. This simple maneuver soon caught the attention of the young street racers across Japan, known as the Hashiriya. They quickly realized that they could use this sideways driving technique and apply it to their own driving style of togue racing, allowing for quicker and easier maneuverability through the winding mountain passes. It also just looked so darn cool and was so much more fun. Among the Hashiriya who were paying attention to Takahashi's cool new driving maneuver, there was one guy who stood out by the name of Keiichi Tsuchiya, who was perfecting his own style of drifting along those same mountain roads. And after further honing those skills through illegal street races, he won the Fuji Freshman Series in 1977. Of course, by that point, Keiichi Tsuchiya's legend was already spreading like wildfire. Sounding familiar yet? We did mention that the character of Takumi was based on Tsuchiya. Tsuchiya's connection to Initial D doesn't end there though. Not only was he an inspiration for one of the characters, but he also worked as an advisor for both the manga and the anime. And funnily, we can even see him make several cameos throughout the franchise. In some moments, and I can't believe we forgot to mention this before, but the anime production team even uses real-life footage of Tsuchiya during the series, which is absolutely bizarre, and weirdly, we're here for it. You guys might also recognize him from another cameo he did in the blockbuster film Tokyo Drift from the Fast and the Furious franchise. Ding! This guy right here. Yeah, legend. And guess what? Tsuchiya was also a consultant as well as a stunt coordinator and stuntman for the movie. So Kinimitsu Takahashi may have created drifting, but Keiichi Tsuchiya was the one who really helped popularize it, not only amongst racers, but also brought it into the homes of the mainstream public and made it into the global phenomenon it is today. Which is why he's been given the title of
Donkey Kong, Drift King.
So if you like watching shows or movies about drifting, and you like anime, Initial D should be right in your watch lane. There's honestly so much about this show that shouldn't work. The duck lips, the over-the-top reactions, the mesh of animation and live footage, the outrageously cringy lines, the duck lips, and yet we loved every moment of it. And we saw it only recently for the first time over on Crunchyroll, where we saw the Japanese audio version with English subs. So we didn't even have our nostalgia goggles to skew our impression of it. Or maybe we did, since Initial D first stage is solidly cemented in the 90s. And that's basically our childhood. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it just nostalgia? Or does it still hold up today? All we know is that we thoroughly enjoyed it. And we think you guys will too. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button to let us know. And you can also hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Stay obsessed.